What is up, everyone? Welcome to episode 41 of the Podioslave podcast. It's Anthony here with the regulars, Tony and Nate. How you guys doing?
I'm doing good.
I'm doing great as well. Just hanging out with you guys today and someone else.
Oh, do we have someone here?
I'm doing good too.
We do have a special guest here this week, and that'll be doing the segment with us as if he's the fourth member of the podcast. Some of you might remember him from episode 9 of our podcast. He was our second interview. Others may know him from the guitarist of the Atlanta-based jazz trio, the Bourbon Brothers. And I know all of you know him from his 18 years as guitarist and founding member of a little band called Zebrahead out in California. So yes, Greg Bergdorf is back with us. How you doing, Greg?
Good. Thanks for having me on the show again, guys.
Hell yeah.
I mean, am I the first rerun guest?
Yes, but don't take that. This is because this is you're a friend of the pod now.
Yeah.
You're de facto
Exactly.
fourth member. Exactly.
I feel like I was on episode 10,
9,
and this is 9. I could be on
is...
like every 30 episodes then.
We can make that happen.
We've just committed you to that.
Yeah. So we'll see you at 72. We talked back then about we're going to have you on. All of a sudden, it just kind of happened. You said yes, and we kind of scrapped what we were going to do, which was a 3-album run segment, which we ended up doing the following week. And we talked about it during our episode with you, and you're like, "Yeah, I'll do that." So we're bringing that bad boy back. So this is the first time we've repeated a segment too, with a twist. We got you, so we're pretty excited about it.
Do I get picks from the first go around?
We could do that. Yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
We've got them all written down. So first, let's catch up. How you been doing? What's been going on in your world?
I'm doing good. I usually say I can't complain, and if I did, no one would listen.
Yep, I know that.
But I've been good. I actually had the Rona, so got over that. Glad that's over with.
When did you have that?
Had it for Thanksgiving. Kind of sucked.
Man.
Oh, so pretty recent.
Yeah, but bright side, now I have immunity, so I can go walk around coughing on people, play jokes on them, see how that goes for me.
I'm feeling better. Everything is going okay now, and
yeah, everyone's good. I gave it to my whole house. Gave it to my wife, my kid, my father-in-law.
Oh, jeez.
None of that worked out for me. that was actually the worst part, was giving it to other people. I was like, oh, fuck.
Well, you could have played it off like they gave it to you, right?
No, it was definitely
me. Greg's the social one. It's him. Blame it on him. Tone's on the front lines.
Yeah.
We've been hard for me to play that one off like that. And I'm like, no. I was definitely zero patient.
I'm not sure how I haven't gotten it yet, because I've been around it a decent amount in what I do for my regular job. So I think last week I was cleaning the riot gear shields at the hospital that I work for. So yeah, it's been an interesting couple of weeks for me too.
That doesn't sound safe.
I mean, you're gowned up. They give you all the stuff that you're supposed to have. Gowns, gloves, goggles, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, Tone's prepared for live shows with all the gear that he has.
Yeah, I think I've been in the bubble.
Yeah. How long you guys think we got before live shows return, now that vaccines are starting to get sent out?
We were going to ask you that.
You're still gigging a little bit, right?
I mean, yeah, we're still playing with the Bourbon Brothers down here. And I mean, we're in Georgia. Our state, I guess technically shows aren't allowed, but what we've figured out is that if you're not charging tickets for it, it's not a show. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we're doing a jazz trio. So, like, we play at restaurants, we play at breweries, distilleries. And how many times have you seen a band on a patio or something? It's like, there's no cover charge for that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And, same thing for, like, if we're playing corporate events, there's no charge to get in your corporate event or your wedding or something. So, I mean, we've been able to stay busy with gigs in that respect. We just can't play like a club or have it be like a ticketed dinner service or something.
So,
but yeah, there's still
distilleries. That's smart.
That's a more fun place to play anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 2021. I mean, definitely next year, maybe late next year. I'm hoping
late summer is my hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll dependent on how quick they can get the rollout of these vaccines. I guess they're still waiting for the second vaccine to be approved by the FDA.
Yep.
And then I've been seeing in the news that there's been some allergic reactions to this first Pfizer one already. but they're saying like a lot of people are just leaving and not staying for the 15 minutes to
Yep.
like figure out if they're even going to have an allergic reaction. So I got to say it's been a weird experience having it last month of how people reacted to me telling them, and them being exposed at the same place I was exposed. And how people have like, oh, maybe I'll get a test, maybe I won't. Like, it's like, what?
Yeah.
Or people have told me after I told them I just got over it, and they're like, oh yeah, I had it. I'm like, oh, when did you test positive for it? They're like, oh, I didn't test for it. I just know I had it. I got really sick back, in such and such date. I'm like, I don't know if that works that way, but all right.
Familiar.
So many people are pulling in their own direction, and that's been part of the problem, right? They're just doing their own. Everybody's just doing their own thing.
Yeah, I've heard that story. I'm macho. I think I had it. I'm tough enough. I beat it. Whatever. No big deal.
I've told that story. Pretty sure I had it in January last year. Yeah.
With regards to live shows, though, I have seen a lot of on Instagram like shows that are being announced in Europe for summer of 2021. So I guess that's, if those gigs are solid. One of them is Lollapalooza, Sweden, and that's obviously a major festival franchise. So I guess Europe's opening up. Sweden, though, I think they were always kind of easygoing on the whole COVID restrictions, though. So
yeah, they never really had any. They were like, do what you think feels safe and right for everyone else. And
like Florida.
What's crazy is that like Sweden really wasn't that bad for them, and they had no real state rules about what it had to be, and worked out all right.
I wonder if that's a genetics thing.
Right. Even Florida, even though it seems crazy on like a lot of things that they did, like per capita, their death rate it wasn't that bad.
Wasn't that different?
Yeah. I don't know what's right or wrong. It's a lot of weird. There's a lot of gray area. And I saw that baseball doesn't want to come back until all the players can get vaccinated. So they may push the start of the season back from spring training, maybe into late May is the talks I'm hearing now.
Yeah, because we're only a couple of months away from pitchers and catchers if they were going to start on time.
Right.
And you're a big Mets fan, right?
Huge.
Yeah. New ownership. You must be pretty excited about all that. This is going deep dive into some other nerdery.
I wasn't one of those Mets fans who hated the Wilpons.
Okay.
But now that he sold the team, and I've seen like how excited Steve Cohen is, and I didn't realize Steve Cohen was a lifelong Mets fan, like as a kid Mets fan, and now he owns his favorite baseball team. And he actually owned the 86 ball that went through Buckner's legs.
Oh, don't rub that in, man. I'm a Sox fan.
I know, but you guys have gotten over that.
Yeah,
you guys got what, 3,
4
after that?
Hey,
Four.
don't let me in with these bums.
Yeah, you're
I'm a
a Yankee
Yankees
fan.
guy.
I got
Get outta here.
Although I'm a bum. For the last decade, I'm a bum.
Yankees got nothing to complain about.
Nah, yeah, right. Just ask them. They got 27. But yeah, so you're
pretty excited about Cohen. He wants to spend some loot, but he doesn't want to go crazy. Like I was worried that they were going to spend what Real Muto wanted, and because I've seen that he wants as much as $200 million in a 6-year contract, and I think that's nuts for a 32-year-old catcher. Like the next 3 years, the last 3 years of that contract are just going to be garbage. Like that guy's knees are already close to shot. Like, come on, you want how much for a catcher?
That's a ton of money for a catcher.
Ridiculous.
This is nerdery. This is what we do, guys. You come to this music podcast for Mets talk.
It is known as the Tangent Podcast, right? So.
Oh yeah, we always do this. Not the first time we've jumped into sports, though. So.
We could fix it in post.
Yeah.
Let it ride, baby.
We'll take Mets out and we'll put in Tom Petty.
Rest in peace.
Speaking of music, do we want to jump into some 3 album runs? Yeah. Want to explain the segment, Twan?
Yeah. So this is we called it the first round, the He's on Fire. So it's the NBA Jam reference from 25 years ago. Once you hit 3 in a row, you're on fire. Yeah. 3-peat. 3-album run, whatever you want to call it. So this is bands that had no missteps in a 3-album period. And you might think it's easy to do. Go look back at your favorite band. There's some duds in there. There's definitely some duds that end that run. So, we'll probably do a couple rounds. So, Greg, hope you're prepared and ready to rock and roll. Who wants to start? That's the question.
Let's make Nate go first.
Yeah, I was going to say, should we spin the wheel? We don't have it ready.
No. The wheel was last week. The wheel has been put back in the shelf. We'll see the wheel in a couple of months.
All right, fine. All right. So, pulling a heavy hitter on this first one. First album dropped in 1995. The Foo Fighters dropped their self-titled album and followed up with 2 other bangers, Color and Shape in 97 and There's Nothing Left to Lose in 99. So we were pretty young, obviously 95. It's easy to reference how old we were. We were in 5th grade, 95. So kind of got a glimpse of this album a little bit. Didn't really know a whole lot, was kind of just getting into music, but kind of liked what I was hearing. Definitely had, with Big Me, of course, like a lot of Beatles-esque kind of rhythm and songwriting ability in there. So I was, obviously drawn in with that. But Color and Shape's the one that really brought me in. I was like, oh man, this band rules. And that was 97. So like tail end of middle school, starting to find my way in music. I was so young, I didn't even realize Dave Grohl was part of Nirvana. So if anything, that shows like how naive we were in the music nerdery side of things, and then closing it off with Nothing Left to Lose in 99. And that album just rips too. So as a young buck getting into music, I think Foo Fighters is a good like entry point into the rock scene, at least like new music at the time. So we're all big Foo Fighters fans here. Foo Fighters has been kind of thrown around a lot recently. They're dropping a new album, so it's just been ringing in my head all day and all week. So I was like, all right, I'll give these guys some credit on a 3-album on fire run. And there are some misses. So you did say, Tone, that bands do have misses. Foo Fighters, great band, but they're not all great. These 3 are amazing though. So what do you think?
I have thoughts.
You have thoughts?
Let's hear it.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think I dump the first album and throw One by One in on the back end.
Oh
And
yeah.
call that the 3-album run. They didn't like One by One though, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, I love Low. I love Halo. I love Come Back. The last song is fucking awesome songs.
Oh hell yeah. Yep.
That's what I would do. But that's just me.
No, I agree. I mean, I've always loved that album too. And you're right. The band never liked that album. They actually I think they almost broke up before that album dropped. So there's probably some like negative connotation to like the songwriting behind the scenes or something like that.
Yeah, I was going to question the first album only from lack of experience with it, like lack of exposure. I remember the singles, Big Me, and then what was the Pretender on? Was that One by One or the after?
No, Echo, Silence, Patience.
Oh,
and Grace,
okay, so
I
that was
think.
later down the road. I mean, I can see why you chose it. That first one wouldn't have heated up on that one for me.
Didn't check the box. Yeah.
Didn't check that box.
This is a call into I'll stick around into Big Me though. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But
The singles were bangers.
That's a 3-song run though, not a 3-album run.
yeah, true.
Get the wrong thing there, Nate.
I have mixed feelings about the Foo Fighters. Like, I think they're great, but like when they first came out, I was like, there's like a handful, there's like 2 or 3 songs on every record that I'm like, these are pretty good songs, and the rest of them, like, oh yeah, whatever. And then I had gone to see Weezer play, and Weezer was opening up for the Foo Fighters, and saw Weezer. They were done, and then me and the person I went with were like, "You want to stay for Foo Fighters?" I was like, "Eh." She's like, "I don't know, kind of same thing." I'm like, "Why don't we go get a beer and like check it out for a hot minute, and then we can bail if it's not our jam." And hour and a half later, we're still there. I'm like, I knew every song, I knew every word to every song. Dave Grohl was super energetic on stage. They were tight. Like, I was like, why don't I love this band? Like, they're awesome. Yeah. But yeah, it took me a show to really get into them, where I was like, yeah, they're good. Like, before I was like,
It's funny.
I mean, I was a huge Nirvana fan. Like, loved Kurt Cobain, loved all those records. And I don't know why it didn't cross right over into Foo Fighters with that.
Yeah, but you make a good point there, though. Going to see him live, that changes your opinion sometimes, right? That's huge for me.
Definitely. I actually met him backstage at a festival at Pukkelpop in Belgium on tour. Nice. And I'm sitting there with my friend and catering, and Dave Grohl's like standing by himself, and he's just like hanging out in jeans and t-shirt, and he's like maybe 5-6 feet right behind me. And I look over, I was like, oh shit. I'm like, my friend, I'm like, oh, Dave Grohl's right there. And she's like, yeah, so? And I'm like, what's Dave Grohl? She's like, you want to meet him? I'm like, no.
He can probably hear you the whole time. He can hear you.
Probably. But I'm like, no, I don't want to disturb him. But I'm like whispering, just like this. And she's like, no, fuck that. And she like gets up, goes over and starts talking to him. And then I'm like, oh, God damn it. And then she brings him over and he's like, "Hey, how you doing? I'm Dave." I'm like, "Hey, Dave, how you doing? Nice to meet you. I'm Greg." He's like, "So you playing in one of the bands here?" I'm like, "Yeah, I played in one, and then one of the shitty bands played earlier." He's like, "Cool. Which band you in?" Zebrahead. Oh yeah, I heard of you guys, man. But I had 5-10 minute conversation with him. He was super cool, like totally nice. Took a picture with him at the end of it. Like, I'm like,
Nice.
"All right, I'll let you get back to being Dave Grohl."
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
But yeah, he was super nice too, like totally down to earth, like normal guy. And it's not, you can't say that about everybody. I've met some guys that are stars backstage and they're like doing the like, how do I get out of this conversation thing? Or but like Dave was totally into talking to me for 5-10 minutes, undivided attention, like super nice, I was like, oh, that it was really nice.
You hear that a lot with him. A lot of the stories, it's like he's just a average dude that loves. He's one of us, but just happened to break through multiple times and continues to break through.
Yeah.
He's Animal from the Muppets, right? I mean, he's just a madman. He's got so much energy.
Yeah, super hyper. Fresh pots, coffee, right?
Yeah, right.
He's a coffee addict. What year was that festival?
I'd have to go back and look at my pictures, but I would guess probably like 5. He was actually there, not playing with the Foo Fighters. He was there playing with them Crooked Vultures.
Yep.
They were like
nice.
the surprise band for the day, that stage. And so yeah, Josh was there and John Paul Jones.
No, that's crazy.
So it was kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I met Taylor Hawkins backstage too, and it wasn't with Foo Fighters. He was out touring with, I forget what is it just Taylor Hawkins band?
I think, yeah, is that?
Taylor Hawkins and the Coattail Riders.
Yeah, and he was super nice too. Like he was just walking. We were headed to the stage, and I was like, "Taylor, I love you." And then he stopped as he was walking in front of us, and we were still walking to the stage. It's like, oh, he stopped to. I'm like, "Hey, how you doing? We're about to go on right now. If you want to come watch this play." He's like, "Oh, cool, man. Maybe I'll come check it out." And we took a picture with him, and then I was gonna ask him if he wanted to go smoke a joint. And we walked away, and I told my buddy that, and he's like, "Dude, he just got out of rehab." I was like, like, oh, thank God I didn't ask him that. But then we're playing our set, and it gets towards the end, and we all look over, and there's Taylor Hawkins sitting side stage watching us. And we're all like, "Oh, fuck, Taylor Hawkins watching us play." But then we're all running over to Ed. "Hey, Ed, don't fuck up, dude. Taylor Hawkins is watching you right now. I'm sure he's judging your drums. Don't fuck up."
So Nate, that was a good choice. That was a good choice because we get some firsthand experiences with Greg.
Hell yeah.
Oh, it's all about the backstory. Definitely.
Well, he can provide better ones than we can anyway, so much appreciated on that one.
I was really just like a fan let loose backstage at these like festivals that we go play. I would just wander about. Like, I'm like, "Oh, quick, are we done? Awesome. Now I can just go drink beers and watch bands that I want to see." And
Hell yeah, be a nerd.
annoy other people in bands where I just want to shout out and be like, "Hey, I'm a fan. Hey man, we're hanging out."
I think I would probably do the same thing. Like, where are the Miller Lights, and can we get this thing going? Let's go watch some bands. Miller Lite, if you want to sponsor.
Peel off the wall.
The dangerous ones wasn't like where there was a free beer bar, because there's always a free beer bar. The dangerous ones were when they had a Jaeger bar, and they just had like they just had free Jaeger backstage with the the little ice machine thing where it comes out at 0 degrees Celsius or whatever. That was those were always the troublesome ones. Yeah. Like there was I forget what was the Jaeger product. My wife has headphones on. There was a Jaeger product that came out that we saw, and we're like, I don't know if I want that as a Jägermeister form. Like, I already have enough bad experiences on Jägermeister. I don't know if I need it. And it was like a coffee. It was a cold brew coffee with Jägermeister.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, that's great. I need to drink 7 of those and black out. Real awesome.
I remember my bad night, because everybody has a bad night, at least one with Jaeger. I can remember mine, and I know as soon as I smelled it, I'd be like, yep, I'm not going to have this.
Oh God. Puking Jägermeister is years of PTSD. Definitely.
Yeah, you still know it now. Mine was 16 years ago. I can remember the exact night.
Oh god.
Good pick.
Hilarious.
Nate. That's a good pick.
Yeah.
Foo Fighters. I'm in. I like it.
Foo
I like
Fighters.
that. I like that band. They're gonna go places.
Yeah.
All right. Who wants to go next? Twan, you want to go? You want me to go?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
All right. So I had probably a half dozen of these lined up ready to go. The two I picked for tonight actually have ties to you, Greg. Either you've toured with them or you've shared the stage with them on festivals or whatever. I'll start with the first one, 311, Music, Grassroots, Self-Titled, which, interestingly enough, came out in back-to-back years, which tells me they probably had a lot of these songs lined up, ready to go. But yeah, Grassroots was 93. Music was 93, Grassroots 94, Self-Titled 95, and obviously the big commercial breakthrough was 95 with Self-Titled, with Down and All Mixed Up and Don't Stay Home. And actually, you could argue this run continues into Transistor.
Into the next record, yeah.
And continues into Sound System. And
from Chaos.
Yeah, I mean, the only potential misstep, which I don't think it's a misstep, some do, is Transistor, which would break up that run. But I think it's a great record. But yeah, I mean, I remember getting into these guys right around that Self-Titled. I'm 10 years old, Self-Titled. I hear Down. I'm like, what's that crazy opening noise? Is that guitar? What is that? And then, the rap rock comes in and I was hooked. And in that era, they were my favorite band. So I know, Greg, did you tour with these guys?
Yeah, we did I'm trying to think of which record it was off of. I want to say it was towards the end of Playmate, but it might have been the beginning of MFCB when we toured with them. Actually, I'm going to go with the end of Playmate of Touring Run. I'm pretty sure. But they were actually super nice guys. A quick interjection on like whether they had all the songs written out or not. I'm going to bet they were just firing on all cylinders. Like the five of them were a pretty tight-knit bunch. And they were all, I think they all saw their band and what they were doing through the same lens at that time. And like, it was just pouring out of them. Like they were playing all the time. They were just writing all the time, like writing on the bus, writing, like they were just being very creative while working. And so I don't know. I'd say that I would think that they, had it all pre-written like beforehand, like an Oasis sort of thing where, Noel had 3 records in his back pocket and it's like, here, we're going to be famous.
That's a great point because they're all original members. I think still.
I think you're right.
30 years.
Yeah,
in.
I think they were all friends in high school.
Right.
30 years this year, right? I think they're celebrating 2020 as their 30th anniversary.
Yeah, it's like U2, like all original from high school, like, or even I think U2 is like even like middle school, or something. Yeah.
So here's I'll give one funny story from that tour. Our first day on the tour, it wasn't their tour manager. They had one of their friends on tour with them who was, we'll call him a PA, but basically his job was he had a stack of backstage passes every night, and his job was just to walk around the crowd and hand out backstage passes to hot girls and their friends. And, hey, you want to come meet the band afterwards, party with them? So he comes into our backstage, like the Zebrahead dressing room before the show, and he's like, hey guys, how you doing? We just want to invite you to 311 to Club Hexham after the show. And you guys welcome to come, bring your friends. It's going to be fun. We're glad to have you out here. And we're like, what the fuck just happened? Okay. We're like, what the fuck is Club Hexham? Like, what the?
Club Hexham.
So we finished the show. We go watch their show, and they're awesome. And we go in, to the backstage, their dressing room that, it's got Club Hexham written in Sharpie on a fucking 8x11 stuck on the door. And we're like, okay, what do we knock? Is there like so we open the door and they're like, hey guys, come on in. And it was Mahoney, Chad, and Nick in just a clouded room. And they had like an 80s ghetto blaster playing music, and there were like 20 of the hottest supermodel looking girls that you could possibly imagine. And we're like, this tour is going to be amazing.
That's awesome. Oh shit, Club Hexham. That might be the name. That might be the name of this episode, Club Hexham with Greg Bergdorf. That's a good run, Twan. you could make the argument that it goes from music all the way to From Chaos, which is fucking crazy. It's like, what, 13, 14 years of just banger album after banger album. I know the three of us growing up, especially junior year, did a lot of listening to them, hanging out together by our lockers, that type of stuff. That was kind of how this formulated as a friendship. So yeah, I love that band, and that's a lot of fun memories thinking about those guys. The funny, Greg, and I think I've told the story on the podcast before. I did a presentation on them. Remember, I think I told this in Spanish class. I had to get up and talk about something for 15 minutes in Spanish, and I chose 311. Like 2003. I'm a senior in high school, and I've got all these pictures. And you said the clouded room you walked into. I realized one of the pictures right before I'm about to go up has it's Nick Hexum and a giant bong. And I know I apologize to anybody that's heard that story before, but I was like, oh shit! I grabbed a Sharpie out of my backpack and just colored the bong in, so I didn't get in trouble in class.
That's so funny. That's really funny, especially because you weren't even like a stoner in high school or anything.
No, yeah, no.
So you were just like an innocent, like, I like this band. Oh, fuck.
Oh, shit, there's a bong in this picture.
There's a glass cylinder.
Can't
What
turn
is it?
this
That's
in.
Yeah, right. These are materials that I have to like present on, like, and here, you know, Donde Nick Hexum esta bong. Oh no, shit.
I would have to put my stamp of approval on the music to From Chaos for sure, because all those albums are amazing.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, they can. I would agree with that. They can definitely run longer than 3 in their on fire run.
Yeah, it's hard to do too. They're on fire like 3 times.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I had a difficult time trying to research this. Of like, oh, this would be easy, and then like I started looking at it. I'm like, no, 2, no, 1.
Yep.
Good, no, good, no. There's like one that messes it up all the time.
Yeah, a lot of times, right?
Or there's just 2 and that's it. And then there's like maybe one record that bookends it where you're like, there's like 2 good songs in this record. I don't know if I'd say this is like a 3 album run.
Or they break up, or they don't even
or
make
they
it
break
to 3.
up. They didn't even make it to 3. That happened too. Like it just, if I can honorable mention a couple of the ones that I was bands that I was looking at that I wanted to say, because I mean, I was trying to think of bands that I just listened to a shit ton of, like their records, and I wanted to pick like a Wilhelm Scream.
Yeah.
And then I went back to pick the 3 records, and I was like, oh, I really only listened to Ruiner and Career Suicide over and over again. And then you get to the 3rd records, it's like 6 years after those 2, and you're like, it's okay.
Just
I
okay.
wouldn't say it's on fire. Another band that I wanted to pick that I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be in my 3, Lagwagon. And really, I found out that I just listened to Trash and Hoss over and over again. And then I was thinking like, Angry Days had some good songs on it. I wouldn't say that whole record was like awesome. And then Double Platinum was kind of meh on the other end of the bookend of that. And then I thought, let's talk about Feelings was really good. But then you got one dud in the middle. Or not even a dud, just kind of a and then I was like, and then I was like, do I go, you can't really go big. That's cheating if you pick the Beatles or something, right? Like, like, oh, come on. They had like a 12 album run. Every album's great. Like, I'm going to pick Led Zeppelin. You're like,
yeah, exactly. Zeppelin. They're all good.
So, yeah, I had a really difficult time with trying to narrow the window where it wasn't just a given, where, yeah, of course they had a 3 album run, or just finding one that was, actually had a 3 album run. I was like, oh shit, this is actually harder than I thought it would be. On that note,
yeah, what'd you say?
I'm gonna go next.
Yes.
And I feel like it's a little bit cheating, but I don't know if they're everybody's cup of tea. But they were definitely my favorite band, and the band that like was the first band that was mine. I grew up on classic rock, driving around in the car with my dad, and his favorite band was the Beatles, and having classic rock on. I was immersed in love Zeppelin, but like to me, those are all my dad's era band. This was the first band that I heard that was like I got into that was my thing, Van Halen. And
nice.
It's kind of like I was like, are they too big? Should I not pick Van Halen? I don't know, but I'm like I get a pass because my hero died recently, and I'm gonna throw it out there. And as a guitar player, I would definitely say like all the DLR records are great. I enjoy the Van Hagar stuff too. I think the first 3 are pretty damn good. Just every bit as good, just different than the DLR stuff. I think Balance is the one where I'm like, I don't know anymore. But if I had to pick 3 records, I was trying to look. I'm like, where do I pick 3 records out of this? I think there's 6 DLR records, and then the Van Hagar stuff of like 9, where I'm like, they got 9 records in a row. They're pretty fucking awesome. But I'm gonna go from Fair Warning, Diver Down in 1984, like the sweet spot of the 3 records for me. And being, I guess I was middle school when 1984 came out. No, actually, I was like 6th grade, and that was the record that got me into them. And it just starting to play guitar and hearing him play, it was just mind blowing. I would read in Guitar Magazine on the tablature for it, and I'm like, my fingers don't even stretch that far. How does that even humanly possible? Like, what is happening? How does he do that? But yeah, Eddie, there you go.
Most would argue that extends to 5150 too, right?
I would definitely say, like, for me, it's definitely like a 9 album run, just from Van Halen 1, 2, Women and Children First,
So you agree?
Fair Warning, Diver Down. Yeah, then it goes into 5150, OU 812, for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. Like, every one of those records for me is like, all these records are great.
And 5150 was the first Hagar, right? First Hagar album.
Yeah, it was the first Hagar record. It was my first concert.
Nice.
Yeah, Van Halen at the Forum with Bachman Turner Overdrive as the opening act.
Nice.
And I think about halfway through the set of Bachman Turner Overdrive, the singer, he's like, "You guys all ready for Van Halen?" And the crowd goes nuts. And he says, "Well, tough shit. We got 15 more minutes."
No, wow.
Oh boy. And they had the one song too, right? I mean, for the most part.
I didn't know who they were going into it, and one of my dad's buddies took me and 3 of my friends. He's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna send you with my rock and roll friend." He's like, "You guys don't know Bachman Turner Overdrive?" And all of us were. I think we were maybe. It was the summer between 8th grade and our first freshman year in high school, and we're like, "No, who is this man?" And then he starts singing, "Baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet." And we're like, "Oh, hey, okay, we know that song."
Yeah.
We're like, "What else do they sing?" But that's the only song I know. I could probably look some up right now and be like,
"Oh, you probably heard other ones, but that's the one." Yeah,
it's the only one I can think of. Yeah, I told that story to Justin about them, pulling that in the middle of their set because I thought it was hilarious when he did it. And we were opening for Deep Purple right after we got signed with Columbia at the Hollywood, the LA House of Blues.
Oh wow, nice.
And on their tickets, there was no opener announced. So like curtains open, bunch of Deep Purple fans think it's going to be Deep Purple, and it's this band, unsigned. Our record wasn't even out yet. It's Zebrahead, and they're already a bunch of like 40-year-old bikers and shit, and they see us out there, and we're like, oh boy. Like there were people in the front row that were holding up their license plates that said Deep Purple, and we're like, oh yeah. And it was a short set. It was like maybe 25 minutes to half hour that we were supposed to play, and it was not going well from the get-go. And halfway into the set, Justin said, "You guys all ready for Deep Purple?" I was like, no, bad idea. And everyone's like, yeah. It was like the first positive response we had from the crowd all night. And he goes, "Well, tough shit. We got another 15 minutes up here." Like, I should have never told you that story.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's gold.
I had a question for you, but you just answered it for me with that story. I was going to say, what do you guys do? Do you just put your heads down and get through your set, or do you do that? Do you go the nuclear option? Great.
Yeah, we just put our heads down and tried to get through it.
Yeah, except for Justin, right?
Like the Boo Birds were already out, so it was like, well, how much worse can it get? And then it was like, well, yeah.
So you know what the power move would have been is to cover Smoke on the Water. Just rub it out.
Oh, yeah.
an alley freestyle rap over it because
Yeah.
that was just like
yeah.
draw a mustache on the Mona Lisa for him.
That would have been great. We may not be talking to you today. You may not have made it out of there.
Oh man,
It's a tangent,
that's awesome.
right? That's what we do. That was a tangent.
Ultimate tangent. And actually highlights the fact that we always reminisce on here like, oh man, you know what? And we get kind of cocky. We're like, we grew up in the best time for music. We got all the good old stuff, and all the stuff that we grew up with became like a powerhouse. And then all the stuff that came after is like, okay, but we kind of got that sweet spot of the best of everything. That's not necessarily true though, because you got to see Van Halen in their heyday.
Yeah.
You know?
I never got to see him with Dave though.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
And then when they reunited with Dave, they had Wolfgang on bass,
Mhm.
and they were old, and I was like, I don't know if I really want to see him. Like Van Halen is hands down the band I have paid more times to see than any other band, and like I don't know if I just nothing against Wolfgang. Like I'm sure he's great and all, but like I don't know if I wanted to pay to see Wolfgang there instead of Michael Anthony.
Yeah.
And then plus like Dave couldn't sing back in the 80s. Like I don't want to see him singing as a 60-year-old dude. Like it's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
Like every time the Stones come out, I'm like, do I want to see this? I feel like I should see this before they die. And I can't believe not more of them have died, right? Because the guitar player before Ron died, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, do I want to? Is it going to be worth it? Is this going to be terrible? Like, this can't be good anymore. But then I still haven't done it. I feel the same way about Paul McCartney every time he comes around. I'm like, I feel like I have to, but I'm going to be disappointed if I do.
That's such a nerd thing to say. I feel like I have to.
Totally. Yeah. That's so us. Like we do
He's
the
gonna
same
die
shit.
soon. There's no way he can
Gotta
go on
see him.
living
Gotta see
forever,
him.
and I'm gonna miss out. I won't be able to tell my grandkids that I saw Paul McCartney play.
Well, we lost this year, right? I mean, everything stopped in March. There was so many things that I would have probably tried to get my hands on, and now going forward, I'm going to definitely try to get my hands on tickets, just because you never know when it gets taken away from you like this.
I say go. At least go that one time, that first time, because Rolling Stones, it's like, are they still good? They're pretty old now. And another 10 years will go by and they're still going. You're like, oh shit, I could have saw them 10 years younger.
Yeah, right.
It's 2045 and it's their farewell tour. And
A bigger bang is still happening.
I should have saw the Rolling Stones in 92 and the Steel Wheels tour. I fucking blew it.
Oh man, that's a good one.
If you'd have told me back then that they were still playing in like 2020, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. Keith Richards is not going to be alive in 2020.
Jeez,
it's insane.
Outlive me.
I actually just I watched their special on Netflix where they're playing in South America.
Oh yeah.
And they actually look like they sound pretty good. Like I gotta say, I mean, I'm sure they probably edited the videos to just pick out the sweet spots of the concert, but yeah.
No, they don't miss a beat. I saw them like 4 or 5 years ago, and same thing, same sentiment that you had. I was like, I mean, I gotta go. I mean, as a nerd, I have to go see this, and I was blown away. I actually saw them twice in the last 5 years, and both times I was like, man, like they don't skip a beat. So like, yeah, they have the best like health coaches and I don't know, stem cell research, whatever it takes. Like they're like on point. It's pretty phenomenal. Yeah.
They know the secret, whatever it is.
Yeah. Money goes a long way.
Yeah.
It's like that South Park episode where Magic Johnson has AIDS and they're like, what's the cure? It's like money. Lots of money.
Around money all the time. I don't know why it works. Oh man.
It's a good choice.
That is an awesome choice.
All right, I got one for you guys. You both took ones that I wanted to do. Like I had 311 lined up. I had Foo Fighters lined up.
Ooh, okay.
A little different but similar. I'm gonna pivot to hip hop. Outcast, ATLians,
Nice.
Clemini, Stankonia.
That's really good. That's really
You're
good
there
pick,
now,
actually.
Greg. Yeah, you can like firsthand. I mean, the impact that they had in bringing that area of the country, Atlanta, into the kind of the forefold. As far as music goes, yeah, those three are great.
Yeah, I think Atlanta, like early 90s, that era, aside from, just being a mecca for rap, like it was a mecca for rock too for a brief period. I think it was it Brendan O'Brien that was making his records here?
Yep.
Sounds
He's got the studio there, Tracks Records.
Yeah.
Or Track Recording Studio.
Yeah. So Butch Walker was making records down here too at that time. Gosh, I mean it was definitely. I mean, Outkast is Atlanta royalty around here.
yeah.
And it's widespread too. Like it's multi-demographic, should I say?
Mhm.
Like T.I. is royalty too, sort of thing, but it's definitely not as like soccer moms aren't listening to T.I. Soccer moms here are like, oh, I love Outkast. Like it's definitely like it's cross demographic. Everybody loves Outkast here.
Well, Stankonia just had a 20-year anniversary. I think it was Halloween.
Oh man, these me feel
and I mean
old.
we were sophomores in high school when that dropped, and I mean, I don't know who wasn't listening to that. We've talked about it a little bit on this pod in the past, but yeah, that was a huge one. And I mean, they're just, you could even, some people might say the Speaker Box Love Below, the dual album they put out, if you cut a couple songs out, it probably fits into this category, this 3-album run. It was cool they each got their own record on the same, but Outkast record, right? It was more like, here's Andre's stuff, here's Big Boy's stuff.
It was two solo artist records, really, they were like, we could split up, but it will sell more records if it says Outkast.
In hindsight, that was probably to satisfy a deal. That was like the last album, and I mean it worked.
Well,
but
they both wanted to put out their own, right? But
right.
Like, hey, we still have to put one more out. Let's do this.
For the casual fan, they wouldn't have picked up on that. But I know, like for us, it's like, there's some dynamic that's not working there.
They're not getting along anymore.
But those 3 albums are untouchable. And actually, you could argue Southern Playlist to Cadillac Music before the album before that is a part of that run too. Because just like we talked about it on a previous episode, the delivery on that album is absolutely ridiculous. Let's listen back to it. It's like no one's been able to do that since then.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, between Southern Playlist to Stankonia, I think what it did is it highlighted an area for hip hop that maybe no one really knew about. So it's like it's completely fresh, and all like the weird, funky things that Andre brings to the table. It reminds me of like Chili Peppers. It's like, a mashup of like 7 different genres all in one. And you're like, this is like supposed to be hip hop, but it's like it seems like there's different flavors on this that I don't really understand, and that's why it makes it separates it from everything else that's going on in that scene. And you got the OG 90s thing too. So
right, it's so much more there. The music in Outkast is so much more than just like kick snare, which can happen in hip hop. And not that can't be good, but like I think that's a lot harder to deliver to a mass appeal, as well as like whatever you're saying, whatever your rhymes are, they need to be sick for that to work, because like that's the spotlight is snare rap.
Was that a subtle Gangstar plug there with Mass Appeal?
They were always a little more than just that, and they were storytelling too. Like there was always stuff. There was painting pictures, and it wasn't just. I'm a big underground hip hop fan, so that's a lot of what happens in that. And these guys kind of brought the South mainstream and kind of brought that style a little more mainstream too, which was cool. And that's wasn't normal, especially not when they broke.
Yeah, because you had Goody Mob, you had Young Bloods, you had
Killer Mike's from down
Jermaine
there. Did some stuff
Dupri.
with them early.
Yeah, and I think like we were saying, it just highlights parts of the country where maybe we didn't really know there was any good music coming out of there. Atlanta, we were talking about earlier. I know you're down there, Greg. Seven Dust, right? They're from Atlanta. That was a big like new metal band, heavy metal band that came out of there.
Mastodon's out of here.
Mastodon, talked about them last week actually. So it kind of highlights like, I don't even know what kind of sound comes out of that general area. So to see some gold surface from there, because I mean we're from Maine, so like everything that we know, at least like super mainstream or even crescendo from that is like California and New York, and then everything else besides those two markets are kind of discovery. If it's not in your face, you have to kind of dig deep. And obviously we're all nerds here, so we have a lot of stuff that we're into, but those are the two pinnacles of the music industry in terms of like major market.
Yeah. I would say, Atlanta, I would say right now that probably trap music and country music are like the two biggest things here. And then, there's big bands and stuff like Mastodon, but is Mastodon as big as the Migos? No.
All right, Nate,
That was a
you
good
ready for
first
round two?
Yeah, that was a good first round.
Yeah, actually, kind of segueing off the whole secondary market, maybe middle of the country, Midwest type thing, that you hear something kind of out of the blue or maybe opening for another band. This band, as much as we haven't highlighted that much, actually, Pandora. Remember the Pandora streaming service back in the day when it was free? Used to use that all the time when I lived in New York City.
It's not free anymore?
It's free, but there's commercials now, and there's a paid for option too.
Gotcha. Which is like Spotify then. It's
kind of like Spotify, but it plays the same. It's like radio. Pandora is pretty much like radio. It plays the same 10 songs over and over. And you're like, oh, fuck, I have to pay, or I just won't use this.
Yeah.
So I actually discovered this band on Pandora circa, 2007-ish. And the Black Keys, I kind of heard some of their older stuff before they kind of got big. So this is one of those classic situations where you're like, oh yeah, this is my band. Yeah, they're not big yet. They're cool. Don't tell anyone. And obviously they got huge. But the word always gets out on music that's worthy. But Thick Freakiness came out in 2003, into Rubber Factory in 2004, and Magic Potion 2006. So I skipped their debut in 2002, which is a great album too. But Thick Freakiness, I can't help but always reference a band that got me into the band. And that was the album that I was like, oh, this band rules. And it's kind of hooked ever since. And was kind of doing it on the low until they broke out with Brothers in 2010 and got pretty big, and obviously huge now. Yeah, this is a 3-album on fire run, and kind of the only reason I referenced the secondary market thing we were talking about with Outkast is like they're from Akron, Ohio, right?
Akron,
yeah. Akron, yeah.
Yeah, my dad was born in Akron, Ohio.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He always jokes that he was born in the same hospital as LeBron James, but they're 50 years earlier.
Nice. So yeah, I picked these 3. They're killer albums.
So I'm not actually super familiar with the Black Keys. I mean, I know who they are and all, but if I were to start listening to them, where would you start me?
I would start. I mean, you probably want to go right from the beginning at the big come up, but I got into them at Thick Freakness, but it wasn't until like 2007. So I was still a late bloomer, but I worked my way back.
Gotcha.
So the first song ever.
There's only 2 guys in that band?
Yep.
Technically, yes. They tour. They have a touring band and so forth. But yeah, it's just them 2. It's kind of like the White Stripes, just 2 guys.
Oh.
Drummer and guitarist. Yeah, super simplistic.
Dan Auerbach and Patrick Carney, is that right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it's got that retro, deep roots, garage rock band. Amazing in headphones. So this is like the kind of, I was living in New York City, so I would play this on the subway and stuff like that. And just be like, man, I'm like, I'm in another, it's almost like bringing you back in time, because it seems like it's older music, but it was modern at the time. So not to, say that they were kind of regurgitating old methods of making music, because they kind of made it their own. But I was all in, because I was like, oh man, this is what I needed. I need something that had that deep guitar riff, simplistic drums, but for some reason had the feel, almost like jazz feel to go with the guitar to make it flow together. And just the fact that it's just 2 artists, it's like, this is freaking epic. I feel like I'm seeing this in like a small little club. So I gotta pull those 3 in a row. Thick Freakness into Rubber Factory into Magic Potion 2003 to 2006.
So Nate, can I ask you, I don't know much about this release, but Attack and Release, was that, you're not including that album in this, so I assume it's a dud? And the reason I ask is Brothers and El Camino are highly regarded.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which come after that. That's like the 2010, 2012 albums.
So you're saying it could almost be a 6-album run if that one's not any good?
Yeah, exactly. If Attack and Release is decent, this is a 6-bagger.
Yeah, no, totally.
I've never listened to that one. I've never really gone backwards with them. I've only been Brothers on. I would say, you guys listen to Turn Blue, I think, was one that came out a couple of years back.
2014.
The first track on Turn Blue, Weight of Love. Put your headphones on tonight and crank that thing. It's like almost Pink Floyd-esque. It's a badass song.
Well, you know who produced Attack and Release is Danger Mouse.
Oh, interesting.
Go figure with that one.
That's crazy. Yeah, I would check all these out.
Have you've seen them, Nate, right? I've never seen them.
A few times. I was one, I saw them festivals, arenas, but when I was getting into them, they still weren't that big. So 2007, they were kind of breaking out a little bit, and obviously broke out huge with Brothers. But I never got to see them in like a small venue. I feel like their music is meant to be small venue, at least theater. And I was living in Portland, Oregon at one time, and they were playing McMinims, or however you say it, Brothers. They own like a ton of venues in Portland, Oregon. and they were playing a bunch of shows there, and they're all sold out. And I was like doing everything I could. And you guys know how like relentless I am to get into shows, and I was like, I couldn't get in.
He's relentless.
So Greg,
Like, come on.
Nate's probably been backstage with you and you didn't know it.
Yeah. We always joke, Nate. We would like bring a band up and we're like, oh yeah, I met them in 07 at backstage at blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, Nate, whatever. Good for you, bro.
Yeah, I don't even bring up stuff anymore because it seems either
No,
ridiculous.
keep doing it. We just love to make
Yeah.
fun of you.
I mean, it's yeah.
I always give those kids credit. I was like, how did that kid get back here?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah. Twan and I would always be talking and be like, how does Nate pull it off? We just don't know. He just does. I've been around it a couple times and seen the magic work. There was one time I remember we were trying to, and we're tangenting now. I think we were trying to see Weezer at Hampton Beach, Nate. And I like started a conversation with somebody who was selling tickets, and Nate looks at me, he goes, don't worry, dude, I got this. And I was like, all right, I'll back off. I think we spent half price for the ticket. Like I was ready to pay her full throat for the thing, and Nate was like, "Nah, they're $20. We're not paying $40. That's bullshit."
Oh man, yeah. Where there's a will, there's a way, and for the nerd, anything can be done.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Twan, you got another one?
I do. So I'm going to continue the trend here of picking a band that, Greg, you've at least played festivals with. I did my research. You might have toured with them back in the day. I'm not sure. Newfound Glory. I picked Nothing Gold Can Stay from '99, self-titled, which was the major label on MCA, which was kind of like the half release with Drive Thru, and then 2002 Sticks and Stones. I got into them probably that 99-2000 time frame. So if you're like a 14-year-old kid, this is like the perfect band for you. You know what I mean? Jordan's got the nasally voice. You can relate with that. The lyrics are, dealing with girls. I mean, the first EP was called It's All About the Girls, even before this. But yeah, those three. And it ends with Catalyst. That was the album in 2004, which was good, but it doesn't hit the stride here. And the album after Catalyst is Coming Home, which could be my favorite album by them. It's more... whole different vibe. They kind of do a departure from the pop punk thing, but those three I think are untouchable. And I always say this, like, they're in genre classics. I think they hit the mark for this segment for sure. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, was Coming Home, was the more hardcore one?
No. So I'm trying to think of, no. So that was the more like poppy one. They had Hold My Hand was the big single off Coming Home. That was 06. That was 06.
Yep.
And Catalyst was 04. And Catalyst, it was good, but it just didn't. I don't know. When you come off that run, it's tough to keep that up. But
it's not easy to be the Beatles.
No, no. I would agree. I mean, I obviously grew up in the same time frame, and we were friends then. So they were Sticks and Stones. The summer of 2002 was probably played a million times in whose ever car was driving at that time. So, they were. Those are. I spent a lot of time with those records. It's been a while for me since I've really been into them. I know the album they put out this year I like. I listened to a bunch earlier this year when it dropped. But yeah, they that fits for me too. And those are the ones I would pick. I don't disagree, which is usually I try to disagree and go one before, one behind just to mess with you guys a little bit. But in this situation, I think you hit it.
Greg, I think you were thinking of Not Without a Fight, which came out in 2009.
It was a little later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they brought like Freddie from Madball on to do gang vocals and things like that on that one.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's a good pick. I never did a tour with them. I don't think they did since I left. But yeah, we would see them all the time at festivals and stuff.
Nice.
Because that we would make a room cloudy or two.
Ian was known for
Smart.
that. Although I think he's clean from that.
Right? You get older, you have kids, and you're like, oh man.
You can't just be stuck on the couch.
I have things to do.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Although I think Chad was straight edge. I think he was separate from that. Yeah.
I wonder how that works. Have you ever been in situations like that, Greg, where like one person is trying to refrain from some stuff and everybody else is like, just do it or party? Like, is there a lot of that or?
Nobody ever busted his chops for it.
Good.
Yep.
Like it wasn't not that I ever saw, at least. I would imagine in his own band, like they didn't like you can't be in that band otherwise, right? Like
Right,
you can't
yeah.
travel with each other and be bros. And I'm trying to think of a scenario where it was a problem. Actually, yeah, Goldfinger, because Feldman was like, he was, I don't know where the line is between like straight edge and AA or recovery or whatever you want, pick your terminology or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, Feldman was, AA, and at times would have sponsor out on tour, and the other dudes in the band were like, they'd still drink, and they would drink on the bus, and then like if there was an argument, like when we were on tour, they'd come drink on our bus.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, can we drink with you guys? Yeah, sure, yeah, come on.
Well, I remember there was a rumor that the Used took 2 different tour buses because they were split or something about that. A couple of guys were straight edge and they, took
I don't know how
2
long
different
that
buses.
lasted.
Yeah.
That'd be hard to do. That would be hard to do.
And it's probably just a rumor too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know how long that, I there were a couple of those dudes partied really, really hard. And a couple of those dudes, like, I don't know if they were straight edge, but they were just like, I'd drink a beer, but like they didn't really party as far as rock stars go. Definitely 2 of the guys were like it's 1977, like throw TVs out of windows, like crazy type stuff. So there was definitely like a split in that band, but I met the singer once, and he was high on something, and he wanted to go do something else, and he told some funny stories, and he was fun, like, but there was like, he was doing his own thing. I was like, all right, cool. I was not on the same playing field at the time.
Yeah. We met him once, Twan, right? At the meet and greet at Boneless Music in Portland.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he looked like that. Or like he had just woken up from that.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And everybody has their own way with it too. Like, I didn't have a problem with it. Like, he was just doing his thing.
Yeah.
And he wasn't like a mean high person or like causing, like, being a problem. He was just definitely
doing something else.
Yeah.
I get that. You're right. He was nice to us. I mean, he signed my CD. So I'm like the 17-year-old kid, like, hey man, I'm so excited to meet you. Gonna go see the show tonight. Yeah. And he's just like, I look like shit. I feel like shit. Like, I don't even want to be here. Like, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Now that I say that and we talk about the Used, and then I just brought up Feldman, like, that makes me wonder how that recording session went with, Feldman recording vocals with him, and just him being with the band, and because he recorded at least the first 2 records, right?
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah. Definitely the first one.
So yeah, I wonder how that went.
Yeah.
Fly on the wall in that room.
Yeah, that would have been an interesting place to be. That's a good one. Yeah.
So yeah, NFG 99 to 02, that 3 album run for me. Who's next?
Greg,
That's
you
awesome.
got another one?
I got another one.
All right, let's hear it.
This is gonna be way off reservation for what you guys might be thinking, but this is probably like, as far as new people who still make records, because for the most part, like, I would say 95% of the music I listen to are from bands that don't make music or are just flat out dead. But this is somebody who still makes music and is, I feel like with the Black Keys for You, I feel like I got in on the ground floor at this. Like, I've been a fan for a long time since the first record. And now she's grown into this other thing where I'm like, oh, well, she's not this unknown little person anymore. But Casey Musgraves, I'm gonna go from the first record with Same Trailer Different Park, Pageant Material, and then not Golden Hour, the Christmas record is actually the next in line if you pick 3 in a row. And I actually like the Christmas record better. And I don't dislike Golden Hour, which is, I guess, her last one, but it's definitely a departure from like this kitschy country, almost like a modern Dolly Parton music wise sort of figure, writing these cute little country songs to, I don't know, it's a little more like the last record was a little more pop EDM ish, it was all right. I didn't mind it, but if that was the first record I heard, definitely wouldn't have gotten into it like hearing Follow Your Arrow for the first time.
I've spent some time with Golden Hour, and I've spent a little bit of time with some of the other stuff. The Christmas album, though, is a great wrench. I love that. You're like, no, not Golden Hour, the Christmas album.
Christmas album's really good.
Yeah, well, and if she's still doing what she did that like got you in on the ground floor on her, like that makes sense. Like you'd be more in tune with that than maybe Golden Hour. My thought there is like people see somebody come up, and I mean they think she's not necessarily Taylor Swift, but you can do the Taylor Swift type thing where you go from country star to mainstream pop icon type deal, and she's very talented, and I get that there might be some thoughts there behind the scenes there, but yeah, that's a good one. I hadn't even thought to go that route.
Yeah, I don't know her as much, only by name. So you're saying where should I start, Greg?
I would definitely start with the first record.
The first
Same
record.
Trailer.
Yeah.
Same trailer, different park. Yeah.
That's a great name for a country record. That's a
Right?
great name for a country record. That fits so well.
It's it's like a modern take on at least those first two records, and then the country record. They're like, or the Christmas record. You know, it's a lot of standards, and there's a couple of original Christmas tunes on there. But I just think her lyrics are really down to earth and kind of now and present. You know, a lot of relationship songs. The old guitar player who I think she used to date sang all the backups and co-wrote a lot of the songs with her.
Nice.
But their voices together, when you listen to the harmonies, he's singing all the harmonies behind her, and it really blended well together. And it's a good pop country, 3.5-3 minute song at,
Hell yeah.
12 times in a row.
Nice. I like that. I'm in on that. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, and she's huge. I mean, you hear the name a lot.
Yes.
Even if you're not into that genre. Yeah.
Although I feel like she's breaking out of country and being more like how you compared, Taylor Swift putting out Reputation. It's like there's a shift in what radio stations are playing this. It's not the Bull now. It's going to be,
right.
iHeartRadio.
Yep.
You know,
everywhere.
yeah.
Commercials, the whole 9 yards. Yeah. But I do, I mean, tangent. I do like the new Taylor record. Not gonna lie, listened to it last night. I was like, that's actually pretty good.
Folklore or
Evermore is one that she just dropped, but Folklore's good too. I listened to that, and I was never I never hated her, but I was never like I'm gonna spend a lot of time with it. And these ones kind of scratch that itch a little bit more for me than typical, which is not something that I would go back to, but found myself doing this year, which is. I don't know if I'm evolving. Maybe I'm evolving.
Let me ask you this: is your wife a T Swift fan?
She's not. No.
Oh,
mine is.
I'm the one that brings.
Yeah.
I'm the one that brings the music into the household, and she loves a lot of music. But like we have mutual things here and there. But yeah, no, my life has been this for the most part, and hers has been a little more like I like that song, but I don't even know who it is or who sang it or any of that stuff. So opposites attract.
Yeah, my wife loves the T Swift. So does my daughter.
Yeah.
And so it's like I hear it all the time.
Yeah. Well, that could,
That's awesome. Well, Tone can say that he discovered it in a club. It's like, check out this Taylor Swift band. Don't tell anyone. Oh, man.
I wish that was if that was something that I could have done, 15 years ago. Sure.
What's funny is you're talking about Taylor Swift, and it makes me think like the only artists that can kind of transition into new genres seem to be this country thing like Taylor Swift and this artist. And I wonder if it's because they have such a deep root in just music theory that they're able to transcend into different genres just because they know how songs are written. And obviously they're very genuine. They're country music, so there's no bullshitting there. But there's no other genre that I can think of where you can like kind of like jump frog leap to a different genre and have it be that amazing still.
Or go to country from rock or whatever. Aaron Lewis, Darius Rucker,
Right.
The Hootie the Blowfish was rock, pop rock, and then he's doing country songs.
I mean, if you go back and listen to those Hootie the Blowfish records, it's not too much of a stretch for what Darius Rucker's is doing now.
Yeah,
that's true.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, yeah. But Aaron Lewis, those Stain records into Aaron Lewis being a Being a country guy.
I had noticed, back, I guess in the 90s, when Shania Twain was huge, that I would hear Shania Twain on, because, back then we had to watch videos on TV, right? You got to watch MTV, you got to watch VH1, and CMT was right there next to it. So I'd flip between all three of them.
Hell yeah.
And, back then, if the Shania Twain video came on, I wasn't going to turn the channel.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And, hearing the song when they'd play it on CMT, and then you hear an hour later on VH1, you're like, whoa, wait a minute, it's a totally different mix.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a pop mix for VH1, and then there was like the country mix on CMT that had like the banjos and the lap steel guitars, and then they cut that out for the contemporary mix, or the pop radio mix.
I'm not surprised at all.
That's crazy. You're right. I never thought of that, but that's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's music industry just going, shotgun blast to everything. Like, that's crazy.
They just want someone to buy the record, and they don't care who does, as long as someone goes to
somebody
Walmart and picks it up. Yep.
Greg, did you hear the Shania Twain version on Headbangers Ball? They added blast beats and metal guitar.
That would be awesome.
There's a Warped Tour version, Punkorama version too.
Yeah, that makes sense. We should corner this market. We should just start remixing songs we love into different
genres.
That's a good idea. That makes sense. I hadn't thought of it that way before. That makes complete sense. Want me to throw out my last one?
Do it.
I'm stuck between a couple.
Spin the wheel.
I know. If only we had the wheel, Nate.
Greg, if you know, I keep referencing it. We have this spin the wheel thing. It's digital, so it's not real. We use it on like a couple segments, but every time we bring it out, I'm so stoked. It's like, yeah.
Nate loves the wheel. We did the wheel last week. We picked years last week and talked about concerts from the year that the wheel would spin it. 2015. All right, let's talk about 2015. Yeah.
There's got to be an like an app for that or something, or like a Magic 8 Ball you could shake.
That's what we should be selling. Damn, is this a production meeting? That's what we should be selling. Magic 8 Balls that play metalcore 2006.
That's why Greg's the de facto fourth member of Podioslave.
Yeah. All right, I'm going with a tried and true. You guys ready for this?
Yep.
Blink 182.
Ooh, nice.
Enema. Take Off Your Pants. Self-titled.
So I had that one. That was my alternate if you guys had taken.
Yeah, and I think we probably all did last time too when we did this back in May. We're like, no one's done Blink yet. All right, I'll do Blink. So we're at the end of the rope here. I'm doing Blink. Yeah, those three records. A really good friend of mine growing up gave me Enema of the State as a gift for my birthday when I was like 13. And I'm like, all right, yeah, this is what I'm into now. And it went from there, and it's never stopped. I've always loved those three records, especially. Always loved that stuff. You guys are probably similar. I mean, we've talked about Blink a ton, culminating in Self-Titled, which is just for me a great record from front to back. There's no misses. So that's my 3-album run. He's on fire.
So, gun to head, could you recite every lyric of Party Song right now?
No.
You don't have to sing it. You don't have to sing it as fast.
I could do it, I think, at some point in my life. I'm not sure I could do it right now. Been a lot of music in this year and out that one, so.
I would even say you could go one on the front end of that with Dude Ranch too. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Dude Ranch is great
Dude
too.
Ranch is great.
That's where my head was going. It's like it's close. It's a fringe, I think, for me.
Well, so here's the question: does Barker make them better? I mean, I think we've talked about that in the past. You bring Barker in for Enema. I think they were really good. They jumped a level with him. I don't know. Maybe.
It's hard to say. Scott's a great drummer, but I mean, that's kind of they were on MCA with Dude Ranch. Something happened where the production and promotion level just skyrocketed with Enema. So had they had that same promotion backing Dude Ranch,
I think Barker gives them something that they don't have without him.
Mm-hmm.
In that I mean, let's be honest, neither one of them have great voices.
No,
it's not like they're Pavarotti singing back there.
Yeah,
it's good for what it is, but it's like you wouldn't be like, oh yeah, that note that Tom hit on. No,
where are you?
It's not happening.
It's not happening, right? They're not. There's some catchy guitar riffs, but he's not Eddie Van Halen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mark's not playing these crazy bass lines.
Right.
Travis gives them a musician's edge of like a virtuoso in the band.
Yep.
Of
Yeah,
like
exactly.
somebody who's like that guy who's like that dude shreds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, and I think he gives them like that a musicality, I guess.
Yep.
Of like the it's like it's just the stamp to be like other musicians can just get respect other than writing some catchy pop songs.
Right.
Like it's something that musicians can sink their teeth into and be like, oh fuck, did you hear the riff at 242 on that Travis plays on the roll out of there? It's like, oh damn, that's brutal. Nice. I think that's something that Travis gives them that they don't have with that.
Did you play with both eras at any point in time, Greg? Like pre-Travis and with Travis?
After. So the Warped Tour we did was I think Enema of the State era. So
2000 or 99.
Yeah, it would have been Travis.
And not only do they drop Enema in 99, they're in American Pie.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
iconic movie for us growing up, right? That's the first R-rated movie I snuck into at age 14.
Was Mutt in the
Yeah, Mutt was
was
the part that they were in. They played Mutt as like when Jason Biggs is running from the house to them to like, what do I do? And like, go
best,
back
oh,
to
yeah.
best
Shannon
scene ever if
Elizabeth?
you're
Yeah.
that age.
Oh my god, especially when you're 14, 15 years old.
With Nadia.
Yeah, Nadia.
Nadia. Yep. Oh, man, I
Dream
never heard
Girl.
that name.
Dream Girl. Yeah.
Yeah, that
So-
album, the theme of those albums, that movie, our age at the time, it was like a perfect storm. But like Greg, I think you bring up a good point, which is like Travis Barker's next level. So it brings a different volume of validation that's like, oh, okay. Like even Green Day, like we were thinking of Green Day, it's like, a lot of people passed over Green Day because it's so simplistic and Billy Joe's riffs are so easy, but they're really tight and the songs are really good. And if there's any, artist that really sticks out in that band, I'd say it's probably Mike Dirnt, the bassist. He's amazing bass riffs and stuff. So there's always one person that kind of,
right. He's another guy that he fills in Billy Joe's vocals too with like just the way they they pair together. Their voices sound well together. Yeah, I feel like Dirnt's definitely like an unsung hero in that band.
Totally. No, definitely.
Yeah, it's not.
So.
I mean, it's like Ramones, Blank, Green Day. Yeah, it's 4 chords and all 3 chords, but it's still hard to write a catchy song, man.
Yeah,
right.
And that they wrote that many of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's talent. That's
So many.
Nate, you bring up a good point. I would love to get a behind the scenes of the transition from Dude Ranch to Enema, because you're right, Dude Ranch was on MCA still, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So like you add Travis, but what else happened? Something happened there. Like they don't go from Josie to Adam's song
Right.
without something.
Maybe
you know what I mean?
Maybe they matured a little bit. I mean, on top of the fact that they've been doing it. I mean, that's that 10,000 hours thing. They've been around a little while at that point.
Yeah.
And they just like starting to fully unlock what they do. I mean, go back and listen to episode 3 of our podcast and listen to today. We sound much better today, I would say. Greg, you were around for episode 9. Do we sound better today? You just get better with time.
You guys are definitely growing.
Nice, thanks. That's validation. That's all I was looking for.
Another 30 episodes when I'm on again.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be. There's gonna be like
dude.
bells and whistles and lights. We're gonna have.
Insane.
I want the wheel the next time though. I want the wheel.
Oh, dude, the wheel is so
yes.
good.
I can't wait till it's like August of next year. Like, guys, we're gonna bring Greg back and the wheel.
We'll
just
fly
have to
you
do
out
it.
to our studio and
Yeah, fully.
Right, COVID will be over by then, so we can fly out there. We'll do it instead of Zoom together. We'll just all be in the same room.
Oh,
Oh,
that'd
yeah.
be
That would
excellent.
be awesome. That would be awesome. A lot of editing. We'll have it. We'll have Settler at that point. Our fake producer will be around at that point. He'll be there for real. Oh man, yeah. So Blank. That's a good one to end on. I think we got what 8 3-album runs in. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that's
awesome.
good. In pretty wide variety too, right? From
yeah.
rock to pop punk to
That's not easy.
country, right?
Hip hop.
Hip hop. There you go.
Oh, you know what? I think Tony, on your last pick, you had Kanye as one of your
I
picks,
did.
right?
Yes, I did.
I would actually say not Graduation, the third record.
Mhm.
I would pick the mixtape that was in between that record as the
Ah.
third record. And I don't know if you heard that mixtape, but that mixtape was awesome. It was
I don't
so
think
good.
I ever heard it.
I'm gonna dig it up for you and send you MP3 files.
Did either of you guys hear it?
I'm looking it up right now.
I would have to know the name of it, and then
I mean, I'm sure it's awesome. That era of Kanye, you're not gonna have any arguments from me. I fucking love that shit.
Yeah.
so what would that be like? College Dropout, Late Reg to the mixtape.
Yeah.
Okay. So 05, like between it's probably 06.
We have a fact checker. Greg just fact checked me. We got Christmas albums. We got mixtapes. I fucking love this.
It's a mixtape. Does that count as a real release? Like, I don't know
Yes
how that
and no.
fits into like the run. Like,
I think it does if it works for you, and if it doesn't work for you, then you ignore it.
Yep.
That's great. I love that. I'm gonna have to. I gotta do some homework.
What do you think of The Life of Pablo into Ye into Jesus is King?
Life of Pablo's good.
Life of Pablo's good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. That's you did your homework on our episode too. I fucking love that.
Well, no, you mentioned it earlier. You wanted to kind of have your feedback on the ones we chose. So, what about Chili Peppers? What was it?
Yeah, you did Chili
Californication. Yeah, Californication to
By the way, and Stadium Arcadium.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we think that.
Peppers. What was it? Your Queens of the Stone Age.
Yep, Queens of Stone Age. Yep. Come on, you
I
did-
would have said was Mother's Milk into Blood Sugar
Oh.
Sex Magic, and then the one after that was kind of and then Californication was good. So like there was two and then a dud and then
Yep.
a good one.
one hot minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will definitely agree though. Like the Chili Peppers for me, it's not. Like Flea's awesome and all, but maybe it's just because I'm a guitar player. Like that band's about Frusciante to me. Like
Mhm.
Frusciante makes that band because you replace him with the Jane's Addiction guy, and they were fucking terrible.
Dave
Like,
Navarro.
that record was awful.
One Hot Minute. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
there's like
you're
one
at-
good song in there.
It's the same thing with talking about Barker. He brought a level of virtuosity to the band that like everybody magnetized towards. Like,
Yeah, he made
this is how we work. Yeah, he's the sun that we all orbit around. Let's make this work. And it worked.
Yeah, Frusciante's riffs, like I think he's
So
such
good.
an underrated guitar player for like rock music. Like
Totally.
the stuff that he plays is so honestly it's very jazzy. Like the chords he's playing, like not a lot of rock dudes could even tell you what that chord is. They're gonna be like, I don't know what the 9 is, a 13. This is ridiculous. Why are these numbers behind these chords? I just play power chords, man. You know, like think of like the kids that learn how to play guitar to, you know, like Green Day. Like we can go back to Green Day. It's like Billy Joe writes great songs and all, but like I could teach you to play probably any Green Day song in about 5 minutes, and not know how to play it before I taught you it, and just listen to it, be like, okay, yeah, okay, E D A. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Let me show you these 3 chords. It's gonna be the same fingering. We're just gonna move it to a different fret. You can't do that with Frusciante. Like it's like thoughtful. It's a player's sort of like he's a very knowledgeable guitar player, and to be able to, I think that's why I love Van Halen so much, is that he weaves this technical, challenging, you know, craft of music, and then weaves it into a song that people still tap their feet to, bang their head, shake their butt. Like it's still a song. It's just a very complicated song, and you don't even realize how complicated it is while you're listening to it.
Yeah,
because it's so effortless of how good it is. It's like you take somebody like say an Yngwie Malmsteen, where you're like, yeah, great, he's good, I get it. Not really a great song. I'm not gonna shake my ass to that. Like, you know, you're just like, awesome, a lot of notes. A minor 5th arpeggio, awesome. Like, it's really cool how he sweep picks that fast. It's amazing. Not a song, you know. And I think like Frusciante, he plays this really technical stuff, but you don't really know how complicated it is, like musical theory wise, until you get into it. And you're like, oh, that's actually really thoughtful. Like,
It's cool to hear that from a musician's ear, because like we're fans and we're like, something's a little different there. You know what I mean? And we're gravitated to it. But from a musician's ear to hear that, it's like, all right, well, you just notarized it, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Stamp of approval.
yeah. No, good point, Twan. As a fan, like we don't know. We don't play guitar. I have no idea. But there's something next level there, which it's not mainstream, but it is mainstream. It's Chili Peppers. So the way you compared it is like with Eddie Van Halen, I'm thinking like Laird Hamilton, big wave surfer, makes it look like riding ginormous waves is a piece of cake, but it's extremely hard, extremely calculated. And he's like one of the only people doing it on the whole planet, Laird Hamilton. So that's like a John Frusciante. It's like a one of a kind.
Or Danny Carey on the drums for Tool.
Danny Carey on the
watch
drums.
Watch his arms go and say, how the hell does that guy have 8 arms?
Yeah, makes it look effortless.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool to hear that perspective on both sides, because I'm always floored by Frusciante just listening to going back to these Chili Peppers albums, and I always get almost transported into like a different realm listening to his guitar work. It's like, where is this guy? Like, where are these things coming from? It's like alien-esque, like.
He's I would say he listened to a lot of Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, totally.
Because I hear a lot of Hendrix when he plays.
And a lot of drugs too. Yeah.
There's some of that. That's okay.
Yeah.
Good call. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's probably good for the segment. Greg, Bourbon Brothers, what are you guys doing right now? What's next?
We just finished our next single and B-side. Working on some artwork, probably release mid-January.
Nice.
And we're gonna try and record a few more here, but we're gonna finish up our shows for this year this week. We're playing Georgia Aquarium on tomorrow night, actually.
Nice.
Playing in front of some whale sharks. Hopefully we can see nature in action. I'm trying to get that in a live stream or something.
Nice.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying playing with Bourbon Brothers right now. Like after being in Zebrahead for so long, like a lot of things became just like, even though they might not have started out as what we did every night, it just evolved into something where we did the same thing after 15 years. We would do stuff, and it became I don't know, routine a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess it's part of the genre of playing jazz. Like when we get to the solo section in the song, it's like there's nothing scripted. It's gonna be a different solo tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
So it's super freeing to just be like, play whatever. And it's not even how long, I don't even know how long we're gonna play it. It's always a wink and a nod to come back in. We're like, let's come back.
Nice.
So it's really fun to do that. Even our jokes, even our set list is different every night, other than we start with Fly Me to the Moon and then we end with the same 3, but we're playing for 2-3 hours at a time a lot of times. Nice. So everything else in between the the 1 in the front and 3 in the end is you just read the room and see how it goes. And you're like, we'll play this one? No, I won't play that one. All right, let's play this one. Okay. So it's kind of fun to be just loose and not have very many rules to what we're doing. Not that there were a whole lot of rules for Zebrahead, but I would say even when I left, Maddie used to complain about it all the time. He's like, can we change up the set list? Because literally 9 of the 15 songs we're going to play are on MFCB. And I was like, yeah, I've tried for years to try and change this. I've given up. You can keep trying if you want.
How does that work? Is it like a group consensus? Like a vote?
I lobbied for lots of different things of like a different person every night could pick the set list. Right? I would be fun because I would.
Yeah.
They
just
knew
show
they
up not knowing.
Everybody nixed that because they knew I would have picked like an hour and a half worth of B-sides, and they would have been like,
nice.
No, we're not playing all the songs that nobody wants to hear. Yeah. That everybody shot that down. But yeah, I would even lobbying. It's hard too because like I understand, if there's people that have seen the band 37 times, right? And those people want to hear the set list that I would have created for the band to play. However, for the guy that's going to be there for the first time, maybe the second time with his friends, they want to hear the staples. Imagine going to see the Rolling Stones and they didn't play, Satisfaction.
Right.
You'd be like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You
got to give them something, right? You got to give them that little bit.
It's a balancing act of like what you can play and what you play for yourself, and it's not always easy to do in say a 40-minute set if you're at a festival or something. So a lot of times you're just like you're stuck with the hits, so to speak. I use that term loosely with Zebrahead.
No, they were
Don't
hits.
sell yourself short.
They
There were
were
hits.
definitely
Yeah. Well, thanks, Greg. We really appreciate you coming back on with us. And 30 episodes from now, we'll bring the wheel back. We'll bring you back. We'll have another. We'll have another topic. I'm sure it'll be a blast.
Absolutely.
Hey, I'll come back if it 20 episodes too. As long as
All right,
I'm
cool.
the first three-peat rerun guest.
Well,
All
we'll
right,
make.
we're
We can
holding
make
you
that
to
happen.
that.
We can make that happen. Yeah. Awesome.
I think we made the last promise on air too, so it's official.
Yeah, exactly. We're doing it again. This will be the secret song at the end, just like we did last time. You're the only episode we had a secret song for too, and we're doing it again. If you've listened past the theme music, guys, here it is. That was our 3-album run. He's on Fire segment conversation with Greg Bergdorf of the Bourbon Brothers and formerly Zebrahead. That was a blast. I love talking to Greg. I could talk to that guy for hours. He's a nerd like us, man. It's great.
Talk to him for hours, listen to him for hours. He's obviously a music nerd. He's lived it, I would say, most of his life. And to get some of those stories in the moment, which were not planned, is a bonus in my eyes.
Yeah, totally. True nerd. He's a de facto 4th member of Podioslave. And when I was talking to him to schedule this, he had gigs yesterday. He has gigs tomorrow. So he kind of squeezed us in. So I really obviously appreciate him coming on and just chilling with us and talking music as always. So yeah, it was cool to hear his take on things and riff on our last take, which episode was that last 3 on Fire?
I think it was 10 because we
was
had
10,
him
10.
on 9. So yeah, back 31 episodes ago.
Nice. Yeah, so we confirmed on air that he would come back for this segment. So we're true to our word. So if you do come on as a guest, we're going to hold you to it. So don't bail.
Well, he'll have to come back, right? He said he'd be back in 20 to 30 episodes again, and we're going to bring the
Yep.
wheel back because he liked the wheel. He was into the wheel date. So
Yeah, I
Get
think
your
he saw
wish.
my excitement. He saw my excitement on the wheel. I think it's awesome. I love the wheel.
the
We
wheel's
just have to
fun.
get a real
the
one.
wheel's fun.
Will's
Yeah.
great. But yeah, I mean, great segment. Great to have him on. And yeah, I mean, you kind of have to be a music nerd when you go from being in a band like Zebrahead to being in the jazz trio that he's in now, the Bourbon Brothers, and just a music fanatic, and he's just a talented dude.
Yeah, go check them out. They're he hinted at another song coming soon. If you're in the greater Atlanta area, and I think we do have listeners in Georgia, go find them outside somewhere and listen to them live. Like I want to go do that, but I'm thousands of miles away. So at some point that'll be a reality for us. But yeah, go check them out. I mean, not often you get to see a guy who's in a massive punk band from 20 years ago just killing it with a jazz trio right now. So go do it.
Yeah, jack of all trades. And like you said, Twan, to have that backstory on bands we're bringing up and little tidbits on flashbacks from touring days with Zebrahead and stuff like that, it's always cool. To the current day and COVID. The fact that he got COVID is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, just talked about it a little bit, that it kind of put everything on pause for a little bit with what's going on. So, true real-time reality with doing the podcast, talking music with COVID, pandemic going on at the same time. So we're not ignoring it. Obviously, it's very it's very real. And Greg actually was able to talk about that a little bit too. Unfortunate circumstance of going through that, but having him on talk about music is what we're all here for, to kind of get past the tough times. So thanks, Greg, for coming on. Can't wait to bring you on. What did we say? How many episodes? 20 further?
At least
20.
20. Yeah, 20. So
20.
he wants to be the first 3-peat guest. So
Yeah.
we told him we could make that happen. We'll find another segment. We'll bust the wheel back out, and Greg will be back maybe late spring if things go well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be great to have him on. So I think we'll probably wrap it there. I appreciate everyone hanging in there, listening to us. And we're going to transition to the Bourbon Brothers with their rendition of It Had to Be You.
Peace, pod heads.
Cheers, Pod Nation.
See you, everyone. Thanks.
It had to be you. It had to be you. I wandered around and finally found that somebody who make me be true, could make me be blue, or even be glad just to be be sad thinking of you. Some others I've seen, they might never be me, might never be cross or try to be bars, but they wouldn't do for nobody else gives me a thrill. For all your flaws, I love you still. It had to be you, wonderful you. It had to be you. Some others I have seen, they might never be mean, could never be cross or try to be bars, but they wouldn't do for nobody else gives me a thrill. For all your flaws, I love you still. It had to be